From One of One Production Studios, broadcasting from NYC, you are listening to Unexpected Success with your host, Joy.
You have to get Wayne inside without getting searched, and that's just it. And I'm like, Miss Roan, they don't care. Like, they don't care if he comes in or not.
Right.
They'll be happy to refund everybody their tickets. So I was like, Wayne, let me talk to you real quick. So, mind you, I don't know if there's still to this day, but back then I was told I was the only promoter that's ever been on Lil Wayne's bus that he ever wanted to talk to, they ever wanted to cool out with. So I went back in the back with Lil Wayne, and that was the first time I had actually saw rapper jewelry up close.
Right.
And I'm so
it's like
when
crazy.
I'm walking
right.
back, so I'm back in his suite, and closes the door. He's like, Lenny, I don't give a fuck. Fuck that. Like, why would they want to search me? I'm the star. Like, fuck that. That's not fair. Whatever. I'm like, Wayne, you right. I was like, but you can't do this to me, bro. I said, like, I'm up to like 30 shows with you, and my money has been on time every time, fam.
Right.
And he was like, nah, man, fuck that. He's like, no. It was a picture of his daughter on his nightstand. It might have been two of his daughters, but I remember it was a picture of his daughter. He's like, he picked up the picture and he's like, this is the only thing I care about, Lenny. I don't care about shit else. These are the only things I care about. Then he said, New York don't love Wayne. Those exact words. New York don't love Wayne. I was like, Wayne, you're bugging.
You sold out in 2
I
days.
said, you sold the show out in 2 days.
Right.
Like,
right.
We love you. I said, and we could have sold 3 of these shits.
Right.
If you know, the way the tickets went, we could have sold 9,000, 10,000 tickets for you. So New York does love Lil Wayne.
Absolutely.
And I love you, and you can't do this to me.
Right.
And he looked at me. He's like, I like you, Lenny. Let's go do the show.
Oh, I love it.
So
and you're like, whew.
So here I am. I'm like, all right, everybody, we're out.
I know,
so I'm
right.
walking off the bus. Wayne is all happy. He's like, all right, let's go. Sylvia's looking at him and looking at me like, what the fuck did this
happen back there?
What happened back there?
And who is this Lenny?
Who the hell is this Lenny?
Right.
So I walk off the bus. We go do the show. He gets searched. He does the show. That was such a. The show was nuts. Kanye West came out.
Yeah, no, that was crazy.
It was nuts, right? Next day, I think we did the show on a Sunday. The next day, I get called into to Sylvia Roan's office. Mind you, she never knew who the hell I was, right? So
right.
Whatever. It's like, so Lenny, great show, and you know whatever. I saw that you were filming the show, so because you're an employee of mine,
that's my footage.
That's my footage. And I'm like, oh,
gangster.
That wasn't my footage, Sylvia. Now, I knew back then that they had a P&D deal with Universal. Universal didn't own any of their music or masters or anything, right? So I was like, it's not my footage. It's Lil Wayne footage and Cortez's footage. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's not, they were the ones, doing that. Mind you, I was lying up my ass, right?
It worked.
So it worked. So I called, I left the office, called Cortez.
Yo,
and I was like,
I didn't have
Cortez,
nothing to do
look,
with that
nigga,
footage.
you gotta tell her she's about to call you.
Right.
You gotta tell us your shit.
Right.
So he did. She came back to my office a little while later. She was stressed out, like, oh my God, like, so when you get that footage, just can I have it, whatever. I was like, yeah, sure, Sylvia.
Right.
Got called down to HR, and HR said to me, this is what made me really not give a fuck about that shit, but give a fuck about working for Universal. Made me feel good about walking away. The guy at HR was like, yo, Lenny, we know that you did a show at it was very successful. Congratulations. But you can't do any more shows with Universal artists. It's a conflict of interest. I said, so let me get this straight. I gave Lil Wayne the biggest look that he had.
Period.
I gave Universal the biggest look that you guys have had this summer. I also gave Ja Rule the biggest look that he had. I also gave Kia Shine, who's no namer, and he's on the biggest show of the year, the biggest show that he had. And I can't use any more Universal artists. I'm like, cool, no problem. He's like, yeah, but you may want to fall back from doing the concerts too. I'm like, whoa. I said, well, why? I said, everybody in this building has a side hustle. I'm not going to be a rat on who.
Right.
I said, but y'all know who has side hustles.
Exactly what's going on. Right.
Niggas either managing DJs or managing the artists, or this one got a DJ pool, or this one's getting paid off from Flex, or this one's getting like, come on, fam, like everybody got their own thing going.
Right.
So I walked out of there like, all right, man, whatever, no problem.
It's gonna be a rat, right?
And then here comes Shanti saying, yo, Lenny, I think it's time for you to play the back in R&B Live, and whatever. They use that shit.
Everybody started kissing the ring.
Started telling me I got to play the back. Now,
right.
There was a gentleman by the name of Ron Grant.
Okay.
God bless him, Ron Grant. R.I.P. Ron Grant. And this is when I didn't care about what Shanti and Eric was doing to me. We was at a show at one of the R&B Lives. Ron Grant was a high-level executive. He was also the guy who started Chaz and Wilson's back in the day. And Ron Grant is a big deal in the live music platform. He used to work for Tommy Mottola. Like, he was a big deal.
Yeah.
Didn't really know Ron Grant that well back then, but he pulled me to the side. He said, "Yo, Lenny, I just want to let you know that I know what they doing to you, and I see what they doing to you, and it's all good, man. You just keep rising." I looked at him, and I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm having all these godly moments, all these angel moments.
No, it's so coincidences,
and
right?
I just kind of like, everything, they could do nothing to me after he said that. Because at the time, I was looking at, I viewed Ron Grant as my mentor, as,
right.
He was that guy. For him to just pull me to the side, somebody who I didn't even know knew I existed,
right,
and tell me he knew without me telling him what's going on, that he knew was going on, made me feel like, oh shit, well, I ain't got nothing to worry about. Just keep rising,
Lenny. Keep on going.
And so fast forward to that, I just ended up producing a bunch of Lil Wayne shows. And
how did you end up working with Mona Scott to produce?
So I knew Mona Scott because when I was a barber, I used to cut Chris Lighty. So I had this really nutty. I'm good. I had this really nutty clientele as I was cutting Steve Stout, Chris Lighty, Nas.
All the executives.
Who else was I cutting? It was a bunch of executives. Jeffrey Sledge. Jeffrey Sledge was actually the first person who gave me a shot. I cut Shaquille O'Neal for the video Fushnikins when he wanted to be a rapper.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I cut his hair for that. So Jeffrey Sledge actually gave me my first shot at cutting.
And that's all genius because if you're cutting the top, then you definitely everybody else trickles.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So I ended up cutting a bunch of artists. Nas took me on my first tour. Well, no, KRS-One took me on my first tour actually, but Nas took me on my second tour. And I just ended up being in this weird space where I had this weird Rolodex of clients because I was cutting, like I said, I was cutting Nas, I was cutting Nelly, I was cutting Chris, I was cutting this person, that person. And so when I would have a party, they would just show up. So Chris Lighty.
I love that.
I want to say one time, Chris Lighty brought Busta. One party, Chris Lighty brought Busta. Steve Stout brought Kobe Bryant. Q-Tip brought Leonardo DiCaprio and fucking Mariah Carey. Because I was cutting Q-Tip at the time.
Right.
So this shit just kept happening.
Shout out to Q-Tip.
Yeah, shout out to Q-Tip. And the dope thing about all my clients was that they never really treated me as just a barber.
Right.
Like, they all had respect for me.
But they liked you.
They did like me.
Like there's a lot of value in just being liked.
Yeah, indeed. And respected.
And respected. People wanted to be around you. They wanted to be around your energy.
Yes. And Chris Lighty played a big part in my career because I was always around him. He was my friend.
Right.
Shout out R.I.P. Chris Lighty.
Chris Lighty.
Him, Dave, Michael, they all fucked with me and they all treated me like family. But Gail, my ex-wife, was the head of was it finance at Violator?
Oh wow!
So she worked with Mona. She was Mona's workmate. So that's how so because I was cutting Chris Lighty, that's how I met Mona and
right.
And of course Mona left there and became the mogul that she is and so let's fast forward to how I worked for Mona. God again. I had lost a ton of money in a show. I want to say it was Chris Brown and Kendrick Lamar I was doing at Norfolk, the Norfolk Scope. And we had to cancel the show because of low ticket sales. We lost like $250,000.
Oh wow!
And part of that was my money, and it was all gone. So I was depressed and
right.
didn't want to talk to anybody, and
right.
went into a real depression. And I probably was in that funk for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So I wasn't taking any phone calls. I barely paying my bills.
Right.
I paid attention to my kids, but that was pretty much all I really cared about.
Right.
I woke up one morning. This particular morning, I woke up that morning, and I said, I'm not gonna be depressed anymore. That was the last night. Fuck it, I'm done.
Right.
2 hours later, I get a call. Mind you, I wasn't answering my phone before, so now I'm starting to answer my phone.
Yeah.
It was my ex-wife's husband, Brent, that called me. Brent works for Mona Scott. He's our location director. And he's like, yo, Len, man, I'm not sure if if this matters to you, but I heard that Mona's about to possibly do a deal with Hot 97 to do a reality show with Hot 97. So the concept of that show was, I don't know if you remember the show back in the day, WKRP in Cincinnati.
Of course.
Right. So it was like a mock of that. Of that. I don't know if it's called mockery, but it was a spin for that, whatever. So he told me about what she was thinking about doing, or our conversations with Hot 97 and about doing a show like that. And he's like, you may want to give Mona a call and see if you can get on. Wow,
I love that. So this is your ex-wife Gail's new husband that calls you and gets you out of this.
Yes, ma'am.
You see, the maturity that has to happen for that.
Maturity has to happen, and that's putting the kids first. That's putting God first. That's not paying attention.
At the
end of the day, I wanted the best for her, and I definitely wanted her to be happy. So when she found love, at no point. It hurt me to think about my kids moving to Atlanta and them not being able to see them every day. I just had to adjust. I made my bed. I had to lay in it.
Right.
So I basically gave her my blessings, and they went to Atlanta, and she found love, and the rest is history. But Brent told me about that. So I called Mona that day, and didn't mention the Hot 97 proposal situation. I just said, Mona, I want a job. And she was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Just give me a job. Okay, I may have something for you in about 2 months. A week later, she calls me. I guess she had just finished inking the deal with Hot 97. And she's like, I have a job for you. She's like, but it's the lowest person on the totem pole because I don't know what you can do.
Right.
She said, you'll be a talent wrangler. And a talent wrangler is basically going to the talent and bringing them from their dressing room to the set.
Right.
That's pretty much it. Had a little corner cubicle in the corner. All the producers had the long communal table.
Right.
So I'm at my first day at work, and I was always on time as well. So whenever all those times I did have a job, which was not that many, I was always on time. So that's very important to those out there who take working on take a job or taking any opportunity for granted. It's very disrespectful to not be on time. So I do my best to be on time. So that was one of the things that I
that's
had
huge.
About.
Yeah.
So that morning, I'm sitting there in my cubicle, my back turned to the communal long table with all the big wigs around it. There was a guy named Mike Rushton who was the one of the executive producers of the show. He was complaining about not being able to reach Ebro Darden, who was the program director at the time. And he was cursing. He was like, fuck, I can't reach. Ebro won't answer my calls. He won't answer my emails. Like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Right.
He's pissed, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, turn around and I'm like, hey, would you like me to get in touch with Ebro for you? And he's like, who are you again?
Right.
I'm like, oh, my name is Lenny Hansen. I'm the talent wrangler. Mona, hired me, whatever. And, he was like, yeah, but like, why would Ebro answer you? So I was like, I said, look, sir, I don't know, man. I said, but
I have a feeling that he might answer the phone.
He may answer me, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, whatever, man. So he keeps talking, right? Ignores me. A little while later, he says, you know what, kid? I'll let you tell Ebro I said this. So I was like, okay. So I put it in my phone. I text him. I text Ebro.
Right.
1 second later, bing. So I was like, here's your answer.
Yo.
So he looked at the phone. He looked at me. He's like, who the fuck are you? So fast forward throughout the show, which was a very awesome experience. And the reason I played a very large part in the success of that show Didn't get picked up for a second season, but I think we're like maybe 3 points below whatever the
requirement
ratings were supposed
was
to be, right? To get into the second season. But I had a great time at that. I'm shooting that show, and I had a great concept, and I wish they would have kept it going. But the reason why I played a large part in that is because I had these relationships with Funkmaster Flex, Angie Martinez. Shout out to all of them.
Right.
DJ Enough, all the different personalities that were on the show. The difference between me as being a talent wrangler and them just hiring a regular talent wrangler, who is low, like I said, the lowest guy on the totem pole and probably very timid, right?
Right.
Because he doesn't know who he's talking to, and it's a little different when you're a talent wrangler for a regular show that you really don't, these could be stars, television show stars or not, but these are actual stars that you hear on the radio every day.
Right.
So Flex is fucking Flex. And
right.
Martinez is queen. And
right.
These guys are really, Ebro is huge,
Right, of course. But they respected you.
They respected me. So I was able to go to Ebro and Flex and be like, yo, come the fuck on,
right,
man.
Come
like, let's go,
right, exactly. Which is a different
I go to
conversation.
Angie, come on, please. Can we just go? Like,
which is different than a soft knock like, hi.
Right.
Are you ready
so
yet?
I played a large part in the timing of the show and getting everybody to the show on time.
That's amazing.
In addition, I also had the talent connects where I can call agencies and I could call I had management numbers in my phone,
right?
Because I just knew everybody, So I was able to bring Macklemore on there, French Montana on there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Who else? It was a bunch of different stars that I was able to bring onto the show through my connections. And at the end of when the show wrapped, Mike was so happy with me. He told Mona that he loved me. Like, he was like, this guy played a huge part
That's amazing.
in the success of the show. And Mona called me. She's like, I don't know what you did up there. She's like, but they love you up there.
Right.
And she promoted me to segment producer of Love and Hip Hop, which
that's crazy.
I don't know how many levels that shit skipped.
Yeah,
but it skipped a lot of y'all.
Right.
And
there were a lot of people with turned up lips in there.
Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe.
I bet.
I had a great time working for Mona. I would do it again. I would work with Mona. She actually gave me I didn't do it, but I told you about the story where she actually I signed a development deal with her.
Yeah.
For to do a reality show based on R&B Live. And once they told me that I had to be in the show and be on camera,
yeah,
I kind of
you're all set.
I was like, I'm good.
I don't
want to do this shit. I'm not the front of the camera guy.
So this question, I mean, you've done so much. You've lived so many lives, really, right? What do you think the biggest threat to young people is? And I'll give you some frame of reference. I had Billy Murphy on. Billy Murphy is a criminal defense attorney who represented Freddie Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And his take, he's only 76 years old, and he's like, what people suffer from nowadays is low aim.
I was going to say the same thing in a different way.
Really?
I swear.
So he says low aim, and he's like, once upon a decade, we were striving for the top,
mm-hmm.
and now everyone's just striving to be, mediocre to a certain degree because they don't really have the reference. They don't have like the same examples. You know what I mean? But the biggest threat is low aim.
Indeed.
And what do you? I guess so. Obviously,
I agree
with that,
because without me, there's a saying. I want to say I heard it from Steve Harvey or whatever, but he basically said that if your dreams aren't big enough, big enough to scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough.
Right.
And I believe that because, when I saw the first time the reason why I ended up producing concerts was because when I was working for Universal, I was in Atlanta for Tank, doing something with Tank. I think we were doing a photo shoot or whatever with Tank. And I ended up going to a Lil Wayne show. It was Lil Wayne and Jeezy, actually.
Okay.
Lil Wayne was opening up for Jeezy.
That's crazy.
Super crazy, right?
I know.
So I went, bought my ticket, purchased my ticket, and I was walking to the front, and I hear my name, Lenny! So I was like, what the fuck is calling me? So it was my boy Mark, who was the tour bus driver for Lil Wayne and drove for all of Cash Money. And I went to school with Mark. And So he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm about to go into the show.
Right.
He's like, you don't need to buy no ticket, man. He told me what he did. I'm like, oh, shit, what? He's like, get your money back. So I went and got my money back.
Right.
So as we're walking to the backstage, I hear another, Lenny! So I turn around, and this guy named AJ, who was the head of security at Club Cheetah when I was doing Cheetah. This is in Atlanta, mind you.
Right.
And so he's asking, what are you doing here? So I told him what I was doing. And he was like, come on, let's go. So they both walked me backstage, right onto the stage, like right stage left, to watch the show. So Lil Wayne, if you know Lil Wayne's demeanor, he talks real slow, like,
Right.
That's just his demeanor. He's not a poppy kind of guy. So I saw Lil Wayne walk onto the stage, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. He walked really slow, and as soon as he hit the stage, he turned into like a leprechaun.
Right.
And he fucking
came alive.
He came alive, and I was just sitting there like, holy shit.
Right.
And I looked to Mark, and I looked to AJ, and I said, yo, this is what I want to do.
Because you could see it.
I saw it.
Right.
And from then on, I was just like, I want to be.
You were on fire.
I want to be an arena
Right.
producer. I want to produce arena shows. And,
Right.
And so fast forwarding, I ended when I left Universal and ended up doing Lil Wayne. Ended up doing a couple other shows. Prior to me leaving Universal, I met a gentleman by the name of Chris Nadler, R.I.P. Chris Nadler. He was I want to say he was head of marketing at Hot 97 at the time, but Chris actually he introduced me to Carl Freed. Carl Freed is a producer of Summer Jam.
Okay.
Who actually taught me the ropes. But Chris Nadler was actually another angel in my life that actually told me that I could be a big producer. It was like, I'm a party promoter, bro. Like, I don't, but he was like, no, Lenny, like, you got the hot. So I had Lil Wayne. He's like, you kidding me? You have the hottest guy, man. Like,
right.
And I knew how hot. I didn't know the statistics of radio. I didn't know how many times he spun. I didn't know none of that shit. Like,
yeah.
I knew he was hot, but I thought he'd make me some money. But but it was a big deal up at Hot that they had the Lil Wayne show.
Yeah.
And he let me know that it was a big deal, and he didn't want me to think for 1 second that I didn't have power.
Right.
So what he told me was like, basically, Lenny, you have what they want. Right. And moving forward in your career, you continue to bring these radio stations what they want, you'll never have to pay what everybody else pays for radio ever again.
That's
so
crazy.
What I do, what I do is I don't usually go to sales to purchase my radio. I go through marketing because you guys want this show.
Right.
If you want me to bring the show here instead of going over there, then for $5,000, I want $150,000 worth of radio.
So I guess you have a very special story, right? And obviously it's your story.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to someone who may not have had as many angels, or right? So a lot of times you might have had an angel, but you have to sometimes pray for to recognize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me be present enough in that moment to have a revelation,
mm-hmm.
right? But what advice would you give to someone who was trying to pivot but just can't get out their own way?
So, I'm going to tell a short story.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, I ended up being the keynote speaker at my elementary school.
Awesome.
Janice E. Dismas Middle School. A very good friend of mine, Lamar Thomas, is a principal there. And I was called the last minute because their keynote speaker wasn't able to come. So they called me. They actually had called me to find out if I knew somebody that would do it. And then the young lady that called me was like, "Can you do it? Will you do it?" And I was like, "I'm not prepared for that." Like, whatever.
Right.
But now I've spoken at tons of high schools, and I've actually spoken at about 4 or 5 universities about entrepreneurship and entertainment. So I mean, I'm not afraid of public speaking.
Right.
So I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. So I went in, and it was basically like a young men's lockdown. So basically, they take about 40 to 50 elementary school kids. I want to say they were in 8th grade, and they mentor them throughout the night. And they mentor them by way of this keynote speaker. They break them up into different classes. One of them may be entrepreneurship. One of them might be, how to be a lawyer. Another might be how to be, get into the educational field. Another class might be if you're looking to be a police officer, and yada, 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 right? So it's basically like a lockdown. So I spoke to these kids and for about a half an hour, and really, really dope experience, and thank you for having me. So let's fast forward, 3 weeks after that. So I went to Lamar called me. He was like, Lenny, we couldn't give you any money to be a keynote speaker, but we put together a nice little gift bag for you, so you can come pick it up.
Right.
So I kept meaning to go by there every day. So finally I went by there one day on a whim, and walked in, went to his office, and they gave me the gift bag. Very cool gift bag. There were two gentlemen, two young guys in the two 8th graders that were in the office as well. And Lamar was thanking me for being a keynote speaker, and he's like, you know what? Hold up, those two guys over there, they were there.
Right.
So he brought him over. He's like, yo, you remember Mr. Hanson, right? And both of them were like, yeah, we remember him.
Right.
And so Lamar said, tell me what you learned from Mr. Hanson's speech. And he was like, well, I remember that he was a barber, and that, when he started cutting hair, all the barbers used to tease him, and that he ended up taking a lot of their customers because he ended up getting really good. And then he started doing concerts. He's done concerts with Lil Wayne and whatever. And then the other gentleman kind of chimed in and said pretty much the same thing. And then Lamar said, so what did you learn from that, though? What did you learn from him? And the kid said, I learned that I should never give up.
Oh, I love it.
So now another tearing moment that I wanted to cry, right?
That's awesome.
That is the message that I would give to anyone that's listening, or anyone that feels like they can't, like, you can't give up. Like, there's no giving up. Just so you know, like, even Sam Gore, who gave me my first shot when I was a new barber, when I was ready to fly the nest and go open my own shop, his exact words were, "You're never gonna make it." Which hurt, because he was just my fucking mentor. He was the guy that taught me the ropes, right?
It crushes you, yeah.
But what that did is it lit a fire under my ass.
Oh yeah, no, it's the best thing that someone can tell you, that you're not going to make it.
Oh yeah. But it also hurts people, and actually sometimes, we believe it that we can't
unfortunately,
make it,
yeah,
and
that's true.
And it's unfortunate that somebody would even fix their mouths to say that to another individual,
right?
And but it's even more hurtful that the person that actually what they were speaking to listens to them,
right,
and believes them, because
right.
Then you go into what I called the mind fuck state, right?
Right.
You're in your mind fuck box where you really you can't, because once you're in there, and what I realized, not to rewind back to how I got the job with Mona and taking that call from Brent, when I was in that mind fuck box, I wasn't taking no calls, right? So when you're in that mind fuck box and you don't believe in yourself, and you're just beating yourself up, which people can do for a month, do for a week, or they can do it for the rest of their lives, right? They can sit there and blame their circumstances on one thing,
right,
or a couple things, right? Instead of fighting through it and just being whatever they want to be.
Taking the lesson and trying,
taking the lesson and keep
getting
moving
back up, right?
But if I wouldn't have woke up that morning and said, I'm not going to be depressed anymore, and I'm going to walk away from this mindfuck box, I would have never took his call, right? So if you stay in that mindfuck box, you block every blessing that can come to you. You don't even see them. You don't even recognize them. And what's
crazy? And why should any individual have that much power to crush you?
Yeah.
Only So that's amazing.
So that's my
no. I mean thank you for that. That's everything. So what would you say your natural ability is, and have you fully leveraged it?
I feel like my natural ability is to is engaging with people of all different walks of life. So Yale Hansen can walk into a ballroom and impress anybody, and then Lenny the Barber can go on your local block, and like, so I feel like the diversity of who I am and how I came up, and I never, like I said, I showed up in here in a hoodie and my hat turned backwards because this is who I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't really turn it on and off for anybody. This is who I am, and if you're going to accept me or you're not. My first name is Yale Hansen. So And I speak a little proper at times, I was told, but most of the times when I speak to someone on the phone or I'm setting up a meeting via a phone call and my name is Yale Hansen, they don't know, they don't realize I'm a black man.
Right.
They think that I'm a white guy, a white educated guy. So I feel like that's also a part of my success, is that you really don't know who you're going to get when you meet me.
Right.
And I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid. I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot of money. I've lost my relationship with my wife. I've lost a lot. And if I would to stay in any of those mindfuck boxes, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Right. I would have declined this interview because I would not care.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna,
and that would be a shame. That would be a shame.
I feel like I have the ability to speak to the younger generation because of my history, because I'm still hip hop. I am hip hop. I'm living, breathing it. I'm hip hop. Sometimes when I look at MTV or BET and look at interviews when they're interviewing people in the industry and getting their opinions, I'm sitting there like, I could do that. Like I'm much more qualified to do.
Right, you're much more seasoned. Right.
But I'm not. I guess that'd take me to have a publicist. And I'm not that. I'm not very. I don't care.
You're not a self-promoter.
Yeah, I'm not a self-promoter.
But and obviously in this social media age, there's a lot of self-promoters out there who
Indeed.
don't even have any qualifications. To, like, what are they promoting? But that's just what we are now.
I'm also afraid of being the corny guy because I don't.
Yeah.
You can call me a lot of things. You
can't call me corny, right?
Yeah, you can call me corny.
So I have two more questions for you, and then I'll rock and roll. Do you think that you've made your parents proud?
Indeed.
You do?
Definitely.
And your kids also?
Yes. Indeed.
And lastly, what will Lenny the Barber's legacy be?
I want my legacy to be that I gave back to my community, and I'm also part of a non-for-profit, which is a big part of me right now. We convert interviews of influencers and celebrities into a curriculum for our inner city youth. Actually, our curriculum got picked up.
That's awesome.
Got picked up in Westchester a couple of weeks ago by Dr. Chase. So thank you very much, Dr. Chase, for giving us an opportunity. But I feel like that's going to be my legacy. I want to be the guy who connects education with hip hop, but in a real way. I want to, and I'm not talking about the kids because the kids that are already getting A's and B's, and our kids, for that matter, that grew up via our lifestyle and grew up, with nice sneakers, but there are so many kids out here that don't really believe they're gonna get out. Right. Don't believe that they're gonna even live another year. That their parents are the millennials that ended up, that were the crack epidemics kids, and they ended up having kids. So these kids don't really see a way out. They don't see it, and I love the fact that I'm able to go into a classroom or an auditorium, say who I am, and then they listen. Because most of the time when the fireman or the lawyer or whatever,
listen, I've done career days and they're looking at me like, if you don't get up out this room.
And every career day that I've actually had the pleasure of speaking at, they always call me back. And they always say that those kids loved you. They want you to come back. They want to know more about you, whatever.
Well, you're relatable.
So
I think that's important.
Yeah, so I feel like my legacy will be those children, right, that I impacted, that are going to remember me. One of the kids that I actually went to go speak. What school was that? I want to say it was a school in Manhattan. Whatever. I went and spoke at. This young man. He followed me on Instagram, and before he left, he was like, "Yo, I'm a model. I want to be a model. Whatever. Right?" I was like, "Cool." I said, "Well, do you have an agent? Like, whatever." Yeah. He's like, "No, what's that?" And good looking kid. So I went to my friend Rochelle, who's a former model and still a model somewhat, but she was a former model. And I was like, "Yo, I got this kid that wants to be a model. What should I do?" And she's like, "Well, you need to get him with an agency." So I was able to funnel him some information how to get with an agency. He ended up getting picked up by Wilhelmina.
Awesome.
I think it was Wilhelmina, one of the big agencies. But I opened up. I was on the gram one day, and he was modeling for Dapper Dan for a Gucci.
Oh, that's crazy.
Gucci ad.
That's awesome.
And it's really because I told him, you know what I mean? And he thanks me for it. But so that's how I believe my legacy will be carried on with the kids that
people will literally
impacting.
stand on their shoulders, and they'll hopefully be philanthropic, and they'll want to give back, and you'll literally have a whole village of people that you built based on you.
And I also want to be an advocate for, parents that are not in their kids' lives, because I definitely can see through my kids that are A and B students that it could have went left. And it doesn't really matter how much money you have, right? It doesn't matter how much you shower them with everything else. When it's a dysfunctional family, it's a dysfunctional family.
Dysfunction, yeah.
And when they see you disrespecting their mother or their mother disrespecting you, whether it be in front of your face or behind your back, it's not a good thing for them. And you don't know how they receive that. Right. And what they do with that information, how they take it to school, and how if somebody says something sideways to them, that they may not be able to, let that bounce off of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And how Mother's Days affect them, and Father's Days affect them, and holidays.
And how important it is to be a law-abiding citizen, a respectful man, a respectful woman. I feel like my kids, in our family, so they had another son, Merrick. Love Merrick. Shout out to Merrick. So now I'm Uncle Lenny to Merrick, right? Now, if I would have been an asshole to my kid's mother, I would have destroyed the relationship that I have with my children, and I would have never had Merrick in my life, right? I would never been able. When I go to Atlanta, like I said, I stay with them. I got a bedroom at their crib.
That's
you know
just
what
great.
I mean?
So like Lenny, like I literally feel like that deserves its own.
Okay, I'll come back for that
podcast, because he has like literally. I just think that taps into so many things, but I just want to thank you for coming on today.
No problem.
You have been amazing. This will more than likely be 2 episodes, just to break it up for the listeners.
Okay.
But I mean, the jewels that Lenny has dropped and blessed us with are invaluable. So until then, Lenny, keep winning.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Joy.
And thanks to you guys for tuning in to another episode of Unexpected Success with me, your host, Joy. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Podbean. Hit subscribe and leave reviews once you've listened. Until next time, shake, rattle, and roll, baby.
Peace.
Keep winning.
This podcast was brought to you by 23DB Productions, ID Productions, and One of One Productions. For more information, go to Facebook and Instagram, Unexpected Success with Joy.